Incoming transmission. Oh no.
Welcome to TennoTalk, episode 8. I'm your host, Rebecca, and joining me, as always, is my dapper co-host, Jeremy.
Melodus.
Melodus, right back to you. So this week we had some pretty cool things come out. We had a new Prime frame, new weapons, and we got a first look at the upcoming Tenno items. So it's actually a really cool week.
Yeah, for being, the radio silence from DE.
Yeah,
as they lead up to TennoCon, which is 2 weeks away now?
Yes,
2 weeks?
2 weeks away.
Yeah, so it's cool that, they still did Primetime Thursday, so we still got to look at the TennoGen stuff. And within, because of the day Umbra came out, within 1 week, we got 2 frames. Which is pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool, but also really hurts my endo and my Forma.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I haven't even started forming anything on Umbra. No weapons, no nothing. I haven't even formed anything on Limbo yet either.
See, I did, and I was like, oh yeah, it'll be easy. I only need like one endo, or one Forma. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing good. And then I saw that the Umbral mods were still only half ranked. I was like, oh shit. So I think I don't remember the exact number. I think it's going to be 4. 3 or 4.
And mad props to any of you out there that have gotten the Umbra mods, those Umbral mods or whatever, to max rank. We have a couple of people in our clan that have done it now, and holy crap, the drain on those are insane.
I did the math on the 2 Umbral mods, or sorry, not 2, the 5, because it's 3 for him and 2 for his melee.
Yeah.
So the 5 of those, I still need like 2 or 3 ranks left in them, plus the 3 primed mods I have. I need around 400k endo.
Holy shit.
So, yeah.
That is a lot. So, yeah. Well, while we're on the topic of it, so this week, we've been doing a lot of formaing and MR grinding.
Not enough endo farming.
Yeah, not enough endo farming. We haven't done a lot of that this week, which we probably should be doing more of. Yeah. I've been trying, running my sorties, crossing my fingers, hoping I get the endo drop, which I think is really funny. And then we just had insane luck this week and literally kept getting Riven, melee Riven after melee Riven after melee Riven. Which I mean is nice. Don't get me wrong. I like Rivens, but I want endo, please.
I want that endo. I'm so thirsty.
I'm so thirsty.
So thirsty.
I might as well just start selling some of those off. Just leave them unveiled and just sell them for the couple plat you get out of it. But I did actually finally hit MR 15.
Congratulations.
So that's the 3rd week in a row. I hit MR 13 2 weeks ago, and then I hit MR 14 before we last recorded, and then I hit MR 15 before we recorded today.
Tune in next week when she hits 25.
No, we'll see. I think if I can get to 16, I think that's pretty much everything. That's the highest I need to get. I don't think I've seen anything require anything higher than MR 16.
Don't quote me on this, listeners, but I think I've seen Rivens for 18. I think someone in our clan told me it's either 16 or 18 is realistically that's the last one you need.
Okay, I know I've seen a lot of 16 stuff. There might be an 18 out there that I don't know.
There is a ton of 16 Rivens. That's what I needed for half the Rivens I have.
Yeah, now I'm just struggling with weapons. I'm running out of stuff to level. And I need, increasingly odd mats that I've burnt on everything else.
So, since we're talking catch-up, I got the Opticor and the Archiplasmor this week.
Yep, so did I.
And that actually, I think, aside from the Baza, and the Lens, might actually be the end of the weapons I was looking forward to.
Really?
A lot of the stuff that I still need is the Infested and the Grineer weapons that I couldn't care less about, to be honest. It's the MR fodder tier of weapons. There's a bunch. There's some Prime weapons out there that are, long volted, like the Prime Boltor,
yeah.
And, the one-handed sword. I mean, there's some cool Prime, the Vasto, the revolver. But, those are all vaulted, so I'm going to have to, spend money for those. So I kind of put those in a tier on their own. So as far as, stuff that We researched almost everything in the
Yeah,
dojo this week. So huge shout out to our clan because you guys are kicking ass.
I know, right? Holy
with
shit.
This research.
I happened to hop in yesterday and they're like, there's still some stuff that still needs some mats. And I was like, oh, I'll just go run through and, help out and stuff. And we're only down to like maybe across all of the different labs. I think we only have like 20 things left to build total. And most of the stuff is waiting now.
I was going to say, of that 20, I would say 15 of them are currently being researched. We're just waiting.
Yeah.
And then four or five of those we're waiting on something to finish before we can unlock it. And then the HEMA. We need like 4,992 mutagen samples.
That's so insane.
Someone has started putting some in, but we're not even close.
Yeah, we're nowhere close. So yeah, it's been an awesome week for that. So again, shout out to the clan. Thank you guys so much for all that help. Soon we'll be fully researched and we'll be ready to kind of rank up and push forward and start growing a little bit bigger then.
We are also recruiting.
Yeah.
So if you're on PC, hit us up in Discord and you need a clan, give us a shout. Yeah.
Come be one of Space Mom's favorites, even though half
of us... Take that as you will.
Yeah, take that as you will, since most of us are not happy. This clan was formed before the abandonment, so...
Yep.
We'll just throw that out there.
Actually, it wasn't formed before it. It was before we were aware.
Yeah, before we were aware that we were getting abandoned.
We were brand new, and we were like, oh, yeah, let's be Space Mom's favorites. And we're like, oh.
Well, who knows? There's a lot more interesting theories coming out about the sacrifice now, so I'm very intrigued to see, what is going to happen with Space Mom.
Yeah, we're going to have to do, in a couple weeks, maybe we'll do, a tinfoil hat episode where we just talk about, the backwards, off-the-wall theories for, what could be coming.
Oh, heck yeah.
So that would be pretty awesome.
That would be really cool. I love tinfoil hat episodes, though. Those are, my favorite, because I love all the crazy things. Because people come up with some really cool stuff, and, hell, a lot of the stuff I looked at ended up being correct, so...
Actually, I was surprised. There were some people on Reddit that they got real close to what was going on. It wasn't exact, but that partly, without going into spoilers, that's not what we're doing right now, but there were some characters that, no one knew existed that ended up, being important players in it. But short of that, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was super impressed. All over.
So keep an eye out for the tinfoil hat episode coming up about sacrifice.
And keep tinfoil hatting, guys. Keep coming up with all these different ones.
Or send them to us if you've got some, crazy theory that is like Mr. Magoo, it's so ridiculous yet somehow it could actually fit. Send those to us. We may even read some of them.
Oh my god, yes.
I would love to read some of them.
Oh my god, yes.
I would love to get a whole 90-minute episode of just batshit crazy spoiler. Not spoiler, but sacrifice theory.
Yeah, and not all of them have to be batshit crazy. Just legitimate, sacrifice theories. Yeah. Because there's so many of them.
We'll have our own episode of Mysterious Universe just on this.
I love it. It's so great.
So what else did you do this week?
We tried something really stupid on stream this week.
Oh,
and I'm so excited to try it again because the way it ended up was absolutely hilarious. So we had one of our clanmates, BBQ, with us. And we decided to run our sorties. And we got one more of our clanmen in. And they didn't really know what they were walking into, but BBQ knew for going in.
Yeah, I didn't tell him what he was doing. I just sent him an invite, and I was like, if he accepts it, then he's just doing this with us.
Yeah, exactly. So what we did is basically we all created a loadout, an empty loadout slot, and we basically hit random on the loadout options, and whatever we landed with is what we ran into the sortie with. So, and it wasn't until we were queuing that I realized it was a spy mission. So that was fun. And I'm pretty sure we tried it 3 or 4 times and we just couldn't do it.
I think it was 4.
It was on Uranus when we did it? It was the weird spy one. Yep. So yeah. So then we actually ended up taking the frames that we were comfortable with and beat it after 2 tries. But
that's a set of spy missions. I haven't even done that much anyway. Even in perfect situations. So there's the underwater tunnels with the Arcwing. I've never even finished that on a good day, let alone in a sortie. So
I had to cheat and look up the video that I originally watched the first time I did it to see how to do it again.
I felt like a badass though. I managed to get the first one that I did. you have to like sneak around and you go through the vents and you pop out in the back of the room and there's two heavy gunners patrolling the room. I managed to do that on a I think I would. Is that that might have been the one I got Umbra on?
Yeah, I think that was when you were on Umbra.
Maybe, yeah. So anyway, it felt cool to like, it was like back to when I first started playing. I was playing Volt until I got Oberon. Neither one's a stealth frame, so a lot of those early spy missions, you kind of feel badass for doing the stealth without a stealth frame. Yeah, that's how I felt.
And luckily, I think those Umbra. You don't need stealth frames. So we're gonna try it again. I think we're gonna try to see if we can convince some people to try it with us again this week, because it's one of those stupid things. Like, let's just see what happens when we hit random. And the scary part, it's
dumb, but it's fun.
Yeah, the scary part is I had some unranked weapons in my inventory at the time.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of, like, weapons that I hadn't sold yet that were just for MR grinding, that I had just gotten a 30. And I have a lot of frames that I haven't done builds on, so it was scary. It was terrifying what I ended up with. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then I know when we were doing Forma this week, I actually got Nova finished.
Yeah, you did.
So my Nova slow build and my fast build are done, except for I kept running a COD to level up while I was formatting, and for some reason my slow build was my fast build and my fast build was my slow build. So I kept going and thinking I was making everything fast, but I was really slowing everything
down. Aren't your loadouts uppers and downers?
Yes, I call my loadouts for uppers and downers. So
yeah,
my upper build and my downer build.
I did find out, and we won't get too much into this because we're going to talk about him in just a second, but a Stasis Limbo and a Speed Nova, not the best.
No, not the
best combo.
No. We were frustrating each other.
Yeah. Well, no, I was frustrating you unintentionally. Fair. I wasn't trolling. I promise I wasn't trolling. But you get to the point where it's like, I just put up the bubble and my bubble is huge because Stasis doesn't necessarily dick over all your players anymore unless they're a Speed Nova or a Squid Baby Nidus because it can't pull.
Oh my god, that's something I learned too, leveling Nidus this week.
Yep. And then there is, I was talking to BBQ about this, there is a weird interaction with Stasis with Saren because the spores, they still spread while they're in Stasis, but since the enemies aren't moving, the spore itself isn't being moved to another group of enemies. Oh. So if the Stasis area is too big, it can be detrimental.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
He had that problem. Stasis Limbo, like, I don't remember where I saw this. Someone was talking about it on YouTube, but don't take him to ESO. Unless you're solo. I imagine he would be just wicked solo in Sanctuary Onslaught. But, with that Saren, I imagine he would work just fine in ESO if you went with a group that knew you were on Limbo. Because Equinox and Mesa could be your big AoE hitters. Limbo keeps everyone still, and Trinity for the heals. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know.
We shouldn't go too far into Limbo because we are going to literally talk about him here in a couple seconds.
So then I'll back roll a little bit. So at the end of
of Stasis. So sorry.
At the
bad puns are bad,
At
guys.
the end of our random sortie run, when we gave up and decided to do it properly, I ran with Loki, and
which is weird because 9 times out of 10 if we're running a stealth mission, he's usually on Ash.
I'm usually on Ash, but I haven't taken Ash into sorties because Ash isn't built, and I haven't bought his Syndicate mods yet, just mostly out of laziness because I have Red Veil maxed, and I'd been taking Ivara, but Ivara, I have not finished her. I haven't even started modding her Artemis bow.
I haven't either. You're not alone.
So I was like, well, my choices were Ash, who doesn't have a build, or Ivara, who doesn't have a build, or Loki, who actually had one Forma on him and he didn't have an exalted weapon. So I took Loki, and now Loki has 2 Forma and might be my favorite stealth frame.
That is awesome. Loki was was my first ever stealth frame I got in the game. I got Loki Prime, and I loved him, and I started running him with everything that I had, and I thought he was so fantastic. And then I got Ivara, and then I just really played Loki once. In my very first ever spy sortie, I took Loki in when I was getting carried, like hard carried through it. And I haven't played him since, really, honestly. Like, it's weird. I'm just not a big, maybe if I put some more time into it, I'll like him. But as of right now, I'm still on that Avara kick with like my stealth frame. So that or Atlas.
With the exception of Nidus, who is still hands down my favorite frame, I've really noticed, like, I've gotten really into CC frames and letting my weapons do the damage for me. So Loki having such a toolkit at his disposal, but not necessarily needing his skills for damage. So I don't need to worry about having a massive pool of energy and a lot of energy regeneration and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which that's why I like Nidus so much, is he is his own energy regen. Like, his kit just works together so well.
Yeah, I got Nidus this week too. He was another one that I got that I basically put it up to Twitch chat on which one I was getting. I let him vote. And we had a tie in Twitch chat, so I asked the clan. And the vote I got pulled for Nidus over Mesa. So I went ahead and picked up Nidus. And I'm interested. I'll have to do some more playing around, but I don't know if I like him. But he's more of that passive CC. And I really have been craving a really good damage frame because I don't always play damage frames. I'm usually like not a DPS player. I'm a tank or a healer usually in most other games. So I don't know. We'll see if I can work on him a little bit maybe. I don't know. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Nidus is just getting used to the rhythm of his... He's got a ramp up, and then once you get over like 10 stacks... then it's Squid Baby Stomp Stomp, Squid Baby Stomp Stomp, and the damage just gets insane the more stomps you do. But he does have that ramp up. He doesn't, like, when you first go into the mission, if you don't have his special mod, he can feel kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
So if it's a short mission, like if you're running him on a rescue or something, without that mod is what catapulted him into my favorite frame in the game, because having the ability to detonate Squid Baby for instant damage, that just made him wonderful. Yeah,
I believe it.
I love it.
So before we get into talking about our thoughts on Limbo and Limbo Prime and everything else, if you didn't know, which most of you that are listening probably do, a lot of you probably have him, but Limbo Prime is out. He was released on Tuesday this last week. He's the new Prime Access. He has a couple different bundles you can get that come with different levels of plat along with it. So what he comes with base, it's Limbo Prime with the Piranha Prime, which hashtag called it. And holy crap, we'll talk about that later, but still. And the Destraza Prime, which is the Rapier, which is also holy crap. Amazing. Yep. And then the accessory pack that you can also buy or buy by itself, either with Limbo in a bundle or not, comes with a new Sandana and a new sigil that goes on your chest.
Which is on like half my frames now.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I didn't expect to like this. I was like, oh, cool. I mean, it's a sigil, whatever.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Damn.
And they did do a hotfix update this week that made it more crisp. It looks a lot better than when we first got it.
The patch notes say that it upped the metallic quality of the lines. But I think it just, in general, like, it just made the lines crisp. It looks
it made it
sharper.
Nice, like, sharp, nice and sharp. And then the accessory pack also comes with the two boosters, the Affinity Booster and the Cred Booster for 90 days. So when we got off work on Tuesday, we went ahead and picked up the Prime Access because we knew we were going to, like, hardcore focus on Limbo this week. And overall thoughts so far... I know Jeremy's been playing a lot more Limbo than I have. I played him for about 2 days, and then I kind of switched back over and was finishing my other frames because he didn't capture me that much. Plus, it's also, I don't know, I have my own thoughts about running more than one Limbo in a party. But overall, I think he's really cool. But I personally probably need a little bit more, or I'm actually leaning towards
I have to say, he's one of my favorite frames. I sort of have like a 3-tier system. I have Nidus, and then I have all the frames that I say on the podcast that is my favorite frame in the game. There's 4 or 5 in there. And then there's everybody else. I don't like or dislike them. They're just,
You bring them out every once in a while, play them when you feel like it, but they're not your go-tos.
Yeah, like Volt and Rhino are great frames. I would never shit-talk them. But, they don't, whether it's thematic or fashion frame or just, general appeal to my play style, they don't make, like, I've never said, like, on this stream, like, I've never said Titania is my favorite frame.
Yeah.
You know, but she's good. So she makes that third tier, and like everybody else is in there.
Yeah.
But Loki's definitely that second one. Like
Limbo?
Sorry. Well, Loki too, though. He makes it up there.
Yeah.
But I guess it's Nidus tier, and then it's Forma and proper build tier, and then it's I finished leveling them, and maybe they have a potato tier.
And one day I'll farm with them.
That's my hierarchy of frames right now.
That's a good hierarchy.
And
actually.
I didn't put any Forma on Limbo for a couple of days, because I wasn't really sure he needed it.
Yeah.
So I ended up putting 2. I think there's 2 on him now, and he honestly I can't tell the difference. Like it didn't like vastly alter. You know, he doesn't. His bubble got it like 3% bigger. You know, it wasn't a huge difference.
Hey, 3% with that bubble means a lot. That bubble is huge.
Yeah, that's fair. The big thing is the weapons, which we'll touch on in a second. But yeah, overall, I would say outside of a couple group compositions, my goal is to play Limbo as much as possible for the next few weeks, just so that it's not like a passing thing, like, you know, like Inaros. I loved Inaros for about a week. Mm-hmm. And then we recorded a podcast, and everyone heard me say I would take Inaros on like every mission in the star chart. But we all know that Nidus is the one I should have picked for that question.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't want to buy the Prime access, you can farm it in the relics. They put in the relics for it. So basically, the neuroptics for Limbo Prime come in the Axie L2. The systems come in the Lith B3s. The blueprint comes in the Meso Z1, and the chassis comes in the Neo L1. And can confirm, I've seen a bunch of people that have just been grinding it and bought the accessory packs or nothing. They just have literally been grinding for them. We had a friend of ours that literally got the entire set of weapons, both weapons and Limbo Prime, within 24 hours just by grinding relics.
Yep.
So, one, he's insane. He had all the time to do it, so power to him. But yeah. And I will say, like, as we've been playing, especially on Tuesday, because we streamed on Tuesday, and we did our fashion frame before we started streaming. And then we hopped in and literally started the MR grind, and we went to Akkad and Hydron were the 2 that we were bouncing between. And the whole night, I never saw another Limbo besides Jeremy and myself at all.
Yeah, I've seen
1.
6 over the whole week.
Yeah, I've seen 1 that's not been you. 1.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's not for, like, we're always playing together, because we usually do play during the week. But even on the weekends, we're playing separate usually, because we're working on our own stuff. Or, you know, we're just in and out between what we're doing in real life versus playing. And I only saw one other one. And I mean, that one had to be a troll, of course. But I was shocked at the lack of Limbos. I figured we'd see them everywhere, you know?
Well, I mean, you know, the Reddit and Twitter and YouTube, like all the social media for the game, you know, the player base was screaming like, you know, the end of times is near. Everyone go to solo queue for the next month or so.
So maybe all the Limbos went to solo
queue? Maybe the Limbos did, yeah. Maybe that's what's going on. One interesting thing, I've seen just as many Limbos as I have Limbo Primes.
Yeah. I think the one that I bumped
week.
into was a regular Limbo, not a Limbo Prime.
And the regular ones are still the trolls.
I know, right?
Like, that's the weird part. Now, I did have a Limbo Prime that we were on Helene or Hydron. It's the same map, so I'll just say Hydron. Who went into the rift and stood on the point for 15 rounds.
Really?
Yep. He'd come out, get all the stuff, and then at the end of the mission, when the card came up, I saw that he had like 0% damage taken, like 5% damage done. Like, he didn't even put his bubble up. He just stood there in the rift.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah, I will say, so I lied. I did see 2 Limbos, and both of the ones I saw were trolls this week, and they were both Limbo regulars, not Limbo Primes. The first one we were on Hydron, and Jeremy was with me on this one. Or no, it was Akkad.
Yeah.
He kept doing his little dash roll thing into the void right in front of me. So if I was looking away when I came back and I like hit W, like I just get ready to move when the round starts, I would instantly be in the void. And that was really a dick move. And he kept doing it too. He kept following me around and like would predict which way I was going and then leave the void portal in front of me.
Yeah, you could tell it was intentional because like from the top, that second floor, that balcony area on Akkad, you could watch him like circling her almost like a shark. Yeah. And then as soon as she started to pivot in a direction, he would dash right through her. So that portal appeared on her, like right on top of her.
Yep. It would stick me back in. So he wasn't banishing me at all. He was just dropping his portal in front of me.
Yep.
And then the other one I had last night on Akkad, maybe it's just a COD. Maybe that's the whole thing. It's just there's trolls on Akkad. This dude was like, took the last 2 on the point and he banished all of us so we couldn't like get the 2 enemies. And then when we all came out of the void and started firing, he banished the enemies and then ran in a circle. And I'm like, seriously, dude? And then he ended up leaving after the 5 rounds. So I was very thankful that he left. But yeah, I had a bunch of trolls this week. So I guess pivoting back, so Jeremy and I played in a group when we were trying out Limbo to start with. And so I'd love to like kind of take a look at and kind of talk about what it was like playing 2 Limbos. Or like if I didn't happen to bring Limbo and he did, now that the stasis change and the cataclysm changes are in, like what does that feel like now playing with it?
So we actually came up with a really cool system. So for whatever reason, I did not think that if I put up stasis, that Rebecca's rift would still count as stasis. Like, I didn't think of the rift as being one other plane. I thought the rift as like pockets created by each Limbo. So knowing like I could just do a dash and fight stuff that she had banished was pretty cool.
Yeah, and what was really neat when we were really early playing, when we were leveling up on Hydron and Akkad, is he was stacking more duration than I was and more range, and I was focusing on more strength to try to do the weird 3 rift surge thing, and to try to do the explosion of Cataclysm better.
Right.
So what he would do is he would drop the Cataclysm on the point itself, on the little pod, and then I would run out and I would start banishing every other thing I could see that was outside that hadn't reached it yet, and he would have stasis up. So everything would freeze, so you could safely stand inside the bubble and shoot everything outside of it.
Right.
Because everything was in the void. So if you were a non-Limbo, standing in the bubble, in the Cataclysm bubble with stasis up, you could hit what was outside the bubble if it was in the void.
Which is neat.
Yeah, which was really cool.
Like, it made it really...
It almost was like Frost Bubble a little bit, but more selective. Or like Gera.
It felt really good to have 2 Limbos because of how we were doing it. Now, I don't think like this isn't some sort of like secret end game meta. This probably isn't going to be utilized much. But if you have a second Limbo, or if you and a friend or something are both got Prime access and you're both working on it, like this was a really interesting overlap of skills. Like it made both of us extremely energy efficient because we were only casting half the skills we needed to.
Yes, it was very nice. Cool. So yeah. And then as far as after that, like after we got our Limbos up and I got like a semi-okay build, I started switching off and playing other frames while Jeremy is still playing Limbo. So playing with a Limbo now is very interesting. So we've touched on it before. When Cataclysm's up and Stasis is up, is if you're in the void, if you're inside that bubble, you can still shoot now, which made it fantastic for when I was MRing weapons. I'll just say that one, or formoing weapons, because he would have his bubble up, everything would hit it and freeze so that I could get kills, which was really nice. And I could use my abilities, so I would just hop back into the bubble for a quick energy regen too. So like if it was just him and he was on the point with a stasis bubble and I was just cleaning up outside, like trying to get some kills, sort of being a hallway hero but not really on defense type of thing. So if I ever ran out of energy, I'd just dash really quick and roll and bullet jump into his little bubble and just chill there for a little bit and pop some shots off and then hop back out again. So it was really nice, actually. Yeah. There was one time it was very annoying, and I can say that for sure, and we've already mentioned it. It's the Speed Nova with the Stasis Limbo. Because I would be standing on the point, and I'd be using that trying to bring everybody as quick as possible to us so we could get all the kills, and they would hit this massive bubble and then stop.
Yeah,
it was very frustrating.
In that scenario, with you playing Speed Nova, it would make more sense to go for a super high duration, super low range Limbo build, so I could just protect the point.
Yep. Or we tried this once, and this is something I learned that I didn't know with Limbo, is the stasis or the Cataclysm bubble when popped does damage.
Yes.
So we're like, well, how do we combat this? This weird interaction between the two of us. So I was like, oh, well, I'll speed them up. They'll come to the point, and then you can pop your Cataclysm bubble and then stasis them. They'll all be frozen around the point, and we can kill them really quick. And then you can pop your bubble, pop the Cataclysm bubble, and we'll do it again. But what was happening is I'd get a bunch of enemies in, and he'd pop Cataclysm, and the enemies were so low level at that point, and he was so much more powerful at that point, too, that literally all of the enemies would die.
Yeah, at that point, I didn't, I was putting my last Forma on Limbo, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I hadn't put, I don't remember the mod. I hadn't put one of the mods that lower your ability strength. Mm-hmm. I hadn't put one of those on yet, so I still had a full 100 strength. And it was in the first 5 waves on a COD. Mm-hmm. So it was still enough, the chaff, the little runners and stuff. The Cataclysm itself was still enough to kill them.
Oh yeah, so that was super annoying. So I probably, as someone who's been playing with Jeremy and playing with a Limbo, it's better. It feels less trolly now. I feel like he's not trolling me as much, which he obviously was never intending to troll me. But it's just less frustrating now, which I really like. And there's some really cool synergy with how you do it. Compared to looking at something like a Harrow, who's all about that stop and stuff like that. So there's a lot of really interesting play now, I feel like.
Yeah. I think I do still think that he's, at least for me, he's still going to shine more as a solo frame. Yeah,
so actually you did a lot of recording this week and took him in solo, which is something I didn't. So how does he feel playing solo in a lot of different mission types now?
So we'll go into it a little bit more in I'm actually going to put together, we're slowly getting a YouTube channel off the ground, and I think the first thing that we're going to do on YouTube is going to be kind of an in-depth look at Limbo. So I'll all that gameplay footage I've been shooting this week, we'll post all that up there. But he's so fun solo.
Really?
Yes.
I figured he'd be really frustrating and squishy, honestly.
Well, see, that's the thing though, because what I did, and I know it's a pretty simple gameplay loop for him, but it's so effective, and you feel just brutal doing it.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I'd played a lot of the solo mobile defense or spy or capture. No, it wasn't capture. It's the other one, rescue. The ones that sort of start out as that you could do it. You could approach it as a stealth mission if you wanted to, and then shit hits the fan, and it's not a stealth mission anymore.
Yeah.
Except for spy, you should try on those. But what I noticed was you could go into the void, or into the rift, excuse me, and you could run around, get a bunch of enemies to follow you, and then pop stasis, and then put Cataclysm down. So stasis was already up, so it would just freeze them all in place, and then just mow them all down with the piranha, turn stasis or turn Cataclysm back off. You're still in the rift. You just keep walking.
Huh.
And so I was doing that, and then I got to the point where I would be in the rift at all times, basically just in case something saw me, so that nothing a bombard didn't shoot me and catch me off guard, because that's going to one-shot Limbo.
Oh, yeah.
So what I would do is I'd be in the rift, and I'd be walking around, and if an enemy couldn't see me, if they were walking, it was my favorite to do when they were walking away from me, I would use the dash to get out of the rift, and the dash would put me in range to do a stealth finisher.
Nice.
And then, you just bend them over backwards and stab them in the chest with the Destreza, and then just go right back into the rift. So it was I don't know. The way it was working in my head was I was like a ghost, and you'd materialize just at the last minute to get the kill, and then you'd just disappear again.
So really, you were Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it.
But Yeah, and then I noticed Cataclysm will break cameras. So on the there was a real high level. I want to say it was Pluto. I did a Corvus spy mission, and it was the one with the laser walls that are moving back and forth. And you can go hack that terminal after you bypass the laser walls. You can hack that terminal, but the camera's going to see you. I just put Cataclysm up in that room, and it broke the cameras in that room before I hacked the terminal. So
that's really cool.
So I didn't have to like go through the grates and try to drop down through the lasers in the ceiling. I just broke the camera. And that worked really well. Like I didn't get seen by a single camera in the spy missions that I did because Cataclysm would break them. So it was cool. Like he has a very interesting, like we talked about like alt stealth, stealth frames that aren't invisible frames. He's really cool. Like his kit works in different ways. But my favorite thing is still to pop stasis, like be in the rift and then pop stasis and then put Cataclysm down, because I don't ever have to leave the rift that way.
That's fair, because you don't ever have to do it.
I did an exterminate that way, and I never fought anything that wasn't frozen because I stayed in the rift the whole time. And I would just pop stasis down and then drop a Cataclysm on top of a small area, mow everything down with the piranha, and then I was done. I didn't take a single bit of damage.
That's really interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah, it worked. He has this. They talk about it in a tabletop game we used to play, Malifaux. We played it a lot. He has a hit and run. Like he's a hit and run master in that game. Like he only engages an enemy when he wants to, and he does it on his terms. It's really, really satisfying. I see why he's so popular now.
Yeah, that's really cool that he. Yeah. I honestly was expecting you to tell me that he sucked and he died all the time, and it was really frustrating, and he ran out of revives and failed everything.
He did the first time, because I wasn't staying in the rift and doing that like assassination style gameplay. But once I got the hang of that, and then popping in and out of the rift, just to, like I said, just to control like when you're fighting something and when you're engaging an enemy, like it made me feel smarter in a way. So it was cool.
Nice.
I liked him. He's up there with with Korra and Umbra and other frames I've put a lot of work into.
Nice. Well, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad at least for one of us it turned out pretty well, because I said, I'm kind of just on the fence. So I think for me, if I'm using your tier list, he's in that third tier right now.
So I think it's funny that we've now each purchased 2 Prime Accesses. I think both Prime Accesses that I've bought are in that second tier, and Rebecca doesn't play Zephyr at all.
I don't.
And I don't think you're going to be playing much Limbo. So.
No, and because it's one of those things, 9 times out of 10, if I'm playing with Jeremy, and you're probably going to be playing Limbo a lot. So
for the next couple weeks while I'm catching footage, but I mean, it's going to slow down. Don't skip out on Limbo just because of me.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what I decide. Well, before we get into the amazing weapons, the Prime weapons that came out with them, there is the most important endgame question here. Fashion frame.
My fashion frame is on point.
Oh, that's okay. I actually didn't get a compliment on that fashion frame. I got a compliment on a Nova fashion frame this week, and I totally fangirled out. So that was really fun.
It's on stream, too.
It is
actually,
on stream.
It's going to be in one of the videos.
Yeah. Apparently some dude followed me around and said I was so cute and my Nova was gorgeous and wanted to take pictures of me, or with my Nyx.
Yep. It was Nyx, yeah.
But back on subject here, on the more important, the Mr. Dapper himself fashion frame, and wow. I think this is the first time I've loved, like, hardcore, hands down, probably will be wearing it the only time I play Limbo. The Prime skin for him is gorgeous. That hat is. Oh, that hat is so much better than that weird conical massive top hat he had before. Oh my god.
Yeah, his new headpiece is just like I want a couple of the Tenno. I think he only has 2, but I want the Tennogen skins. They've got nice textures, nice patterns and stuff. But I'm not giving up that helmet.
That helmet, I love the brim of it. It's very wide and it's not as tall. So it has this really cool, like this Victorian Gothic look to it, and I love it. It's absolutely amazing.
Also, because of the shape of the brim, it's also the best Loki helmet in the game. So Loki has a lot of those like wings on the side of his head. And Limbo's hat looks better, but it looks similar to a bunch of the Loki helmets.
I could see it, like the same angle and stick out and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, the accessory pack did come with that cape and sigil, like we'd mentioned earlier. And I put the sigil on immediately.
Yes.
Because that sigil's really cool. So it's the one that's got like the metallic on the outside and then the inside glows your energy color. Really freaking gorgeous. Oh my goodness. I loved messing around with the height and the width of it and making it look a little bit different, the rotation.
Of all of the frames I've played this week, the only one that I didn't go in and put that on is Necros.
Really?
Because I'm using his deluxe skin, so he's got a big hole in his chest, so it doesn't fit. I tried, though. I tried to put it on. I didn't like it.
Does it cover the hole?
No.
Oh, lame.
So, yeah, he's like where his belly button is, there's a hole that you can see through. Mm-hmm. And then, like, right between his pecs, there's, like, ghostly fire coming out. So there's not really room, in my opinion, to put the sigil.
Yeah, and I
so
bet
it just didn't look that good.
I bet the Y-axis doesn't have a lot of option up and down. And I mean, you could put it on one of the sides of the pecs maybe, but then how small is it going to look and how's that going to wrap weird with the ghost stuff? I can see that.
I'm also weird, and with the exception of like a couple of my fashion frames, I like symmetrical looks. So I don't put the sigil like off center, like it's like a chest pocket or something.
Yeah, like a logo.
Yeah, I haven't been doing that. Maybe I should try that.
Yeah, there's a couple that I have actually like squished it. And with the Rift one, what I found myself doing with this the Prime Rift sigil is I would move the width down so it was like shrunk in a little bit, and then I would make the height longer so it looked like it was more of like a weird kind of circular odd point, and then I would sink it down a little bit so that the point of it was like right on the center of your T-bone. So it pointed at the T-bone, which for a lot of the female frames is right under the breasts, and then it came down over the stomach, and I loved it.
It looks great on Mesa right there. I did that exact same thing, except I flipped it upside down.
Ooh, I love flipping stuff upside down.
And then basically I like sized it and everything like down on her stomach so I could see the whole thing, and then I just slid it upwards until it fit right under the V shape from her cowl. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And it sits perfectly right there. It's
nice. I'm using the Scar sigil on my Mesa, and I really like it. I turned it like awkwardly on like straight up and down, and I moved it over, and it's like wrapping around her side. It's really cool. Anyway, the cape that came with them. Now they did do a hot fix for this, and they made it a little longer, and it's a little bit more rounded now at the bottom. But now that the height is like that, I actually kind of like it more. It has great movement, because I know last week we were talking about how we were afraid that it was going to be too static.
Yep.
So it has really good movement, and the more I look at it on other people, I really like it. I don't think I would put it on my Limbo, and I can't really think of a frame I'd stick it on, but it really does remind me of those weird, like, 1800 magician capes that they used to wear in the old shows.
I kind of love it, but only for Limbo.
Really? Only Limbo?
I've put it on a couple of the other frames. Like I was redoing my Mesa because I do think I'm going to finally break down and work on her regulators. But I can't find another frame that I think it looks good on. It's too short on everybody else. But Limbo having that like 1800s London back alley look to him, like, you know, with the top hat and holding the pistol behind his back, the short cape, like magician cape thing, it works for him.
Yeah, it does look really good.
But it doesn't work for anyone else, in my opinion, obviously.
Now, I haven't tried it on anybody else yet, so I'm going to have to take a look at it and see. Because I know I tried it on Limbo, and then I immediately took it off and I put the Dax stand-in on. Because that Dax stand-in that came out with Sacrifice is absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't gotten it, get it. Like, wow. Holy crap. I love it so much. So yeah, and as far as his coloring goes, I feel like you have really good options. I feel like his Prime skin just dyes really well. It was a little bit interesting and hard for me to figure out because there's like the weird pants and like parts of the coat matched up a little weird. So it took a little bit time, but I'm happy where he's at. He's clearly not in his final form yet. I still have some more. I'll probably mess with it a little bit more as I play him more later on. But right now, I'm happy where he's at.
I have 2 that are finished.
Really? You have 2 fashion frames?
Yes,
and
I
1
do.
build. Hilarious. Yep. You can see our priorities, guys.
I was a little worried. Like, when you look at the preview image, I think they used a white and a light gray on the default, because when you look at the preview image, not like in game, but just the like buy Limbo access here, I was kind of worried it was going to be like Mag or Nyx Prime or even Zephyr Prime, where that first slot is like 80% of their body.
Oh, I could see that, yeah.
So I was kind of worried that, like, you know, okay, so that is going to have to be either white or black, or he's going to look off. Like, if you make that purple, then he's going to look like, you know, a giant purple suit. You know, it's going to be too much of that one color. I thought, but I thought they actually did a really good job of keeping it balanced. You know, the pants, and I think it's the trim, like the lining on his jacket is the same color, which, you know, if you were dressing up and trying to look real formal, it would make sense to have the pants be a complementary color to the trim on your suit jacket. Like, so in a way, like, it's just more dapper. It works.
I disagree about the if you're trying to look fancy, you want your pantsuits to match the trim of your jacket, because usually 9 times out of 10, if you're going super formal, you'll be black suit, gray suit, and it matches.
I didn't say super formal.
I know, but I was thinking like super fancy.
You're putting words. You know, you're projecting.
I am.
This is my fashion frame.
That's fair. Your fashion frame.
No, but it looks good. It's nice that, you know, the jacket and the slacks tie in together without just being one solid color. Because regular Limbo, I do believe it's like one color. Yep.
And I would be way too tempted to go onto the ice palette and get like the powdery blue looking color, or the Easter palette, and do an all blue suit Limbo.
Oh, then I would do an orange one and we could be Dumb and Dumber.
Heck yes.
Okay, that's happening now.
We're totally gonna
I have a third slot left.
Oh, I have 2. I only have done one fashion frame. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think that'd be absolutely hilarious. But overall, I'm really impressed with how we went together. I thought it was a very gorgeous design. As far as the Prime skin versus his normal, I'm at least in that part of Limbo, 10 out of 10. I'm a fan. Yeah. I like it. It's fun to fashion frame.
Yeah.
But now let's get into the more excited part. Because for me, I was more excited about the weapons than I was the Prime frame. Because I wanted them weapons.
I actually, it just plateaued. Like, nothing was a disappointment to me this time, but I actually was much more excited about the weapons than Limbo.
Oh, I was. I will 100%. Yeah. I bought this for the weapons and for the sigil.
And the plat.
That was about it. Because the plat is going for Rivens and went for prizes and stuff like that. So, yeah.
It went for Rivens, and damn, I spent most of it on Rivens.
Oh my God.
Because I got Rivens for both the Piranha and the Destreza this week.
So, we've already said it. It was the Piranha and Destreza. If you did not get the Limbo Prime Access, those are farmable. The Piranha drops from the Axie K3, the Lith P1, and the Neo V7. And the Destreza drops from the Axie O3, the Meso D2, and the Neo B5. So you can go out and get those. You can grind them, and you can get it that way. No problem, Bob. Don't feel pressured to get it if you don't have the money or anything like that. They are still gettable in game, because I love DE.
Do keep in mind that since both of those only have 3 parts, I believe the 4th part is 10 Orokin cells.
It's 10 Orokin cells?
It's usually quite a bit.
I figured it was going to be either Orokin cells or it's going to be a Forma.
I don't think it's a Forma.
Ooh, that's a good change.
I think they're Orokin cells.
I hate every single time I see a weapon needs a Forma to build. I'm like, but my Forma.
But yeah, don't just make sure you have Orokin cells. I know a lot of people have like huge, you know, backlogs of them because they really only use them for frames and for building prime weapons. But yeah, just keep in mind you're going to need those. Yeah,
so we'll talk about the Piranha first, because that was my most looked forward to weapon here. Dude, that gun. I've never felt so in love with a gun before. I would marry the Piranha. It would be my gun husband.
Yeah, I've noticed so many missions that I just switched to it immediately. I don't even use my primaries. Like half the missions I ran on Limbo or other, I did notice like Mesa has already switched. I haven't even played Mesa this week. Necros has switched. Nidus got switched the first time I played him. Loki even has this, and Loki's a stealth frame.
That's
but
it's just
hilarious. Such a solid gun.
It is so good. And I remember we were Eidolon hunting one night, and we were trying to like get everything down so, like super quick so we could get a couple farms in of it. And I remember we got one leg down, and Jeremy was complaining that it was kind of slow. So the next one, it went down in like 2 seconds, and he's like, "That was with the piranha."
Yeah, I used I had the Opticore finally finished with 5. Yeah, it has 5 forma in it, but I don't have a Riven for it yet.
Yeah, because you need
So,
7 to make
yeah,
that weapon effective, but it's one of the best weapons in the game.
Well, I have the build. It's all finished. It all
Okay.
fits. Just
Without a Riven.
since I don't have a Riven, I could stop there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had it put together, for radiation, like you do, and the same for the Piranha. I swapped out. Usually, I've been running it with viral, but I put radiation on it. Or
Yeah.
not viral. I'm sorry, corrosive. But I put rad on it for the fight. And yeah, the Opticore, like I got like only like 3 shots off, because the Opticore takes forever to shoot. Mm-hmm. It really does.
It's so slow.
And I was on Harrow, so I had decent crit chance and all that stuff with his buffs. But I switched to the other one, and it just
Melted.
Piranha just melted. It was the knee. It just destroyed it. Like, I mean, I know I wasn't the only one shooting it, but there was a definite difference in speed between the two limbs that we'd shot out.
Yeah, the Piranha's just so good. I think it feels really good, it handles really good, and it's just overall a solid weapon.
It was kind of trippy the first night, though, because I did not know what the passive was.
Yes.
I had no idea why my magazine size was doubling, and then I did encounter the weird bug, and you did too, that first night where you could keep stacking it.
Yep. So I think at one point I hit 48 magazine size when it's supposed to be 12 and 24 when it's doubled.
Yep.
So you can double it more, but now that has been taken out, you cannot glitch that anymore. So it was fun while it lasted. It was kind of interesting. It was really hella confusing. I was asking the stream what was happening because I thought I broke it.
Right.
And I thought the gun was broken and stuff. So yeah.
And I wondered, like, did they sneak? Because we were in a party with a Valbon, and we're never in a party with a Valbon. So we're like, did they change something about Valbon? Is he doing this
yeah,
to
did
us? Like,
Valbon do it to us?
Is he giving us extra ammo? Like, I mean, I don't think he can. That should be a thing he can do, but I don't think he can do that.
That would be really cool.
It was pretty neat.
So yeah, overall 10 out of 10. That is, I haven't formatted it, but that will become probably one of my most used sidearms now.
I have 3 forma on it already.
Oh,
because I needed it.
nice.
So the Riven I got is like, it's not like a god tier Riven by any means, but it's super solid. I don't have it in front of me. I don't remember exactly what it does, but like every other pellet out of it is a red crit, and I'm doing corrosive damage for days. So
it's really nice.
I just love that gun so much. It's the only secondary I'll be using for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to become one of my favorites.
At this point, the only thing it has working against it is if it's the only secondary I use, I will eventually get bored.
That is fair.
I'll switch it up just for fun. But,
yeah. So speaking of switching stuff up, the melee weapon, the Destreza. Now, before we got this, I had not used a rapier yet. I had the blueprints for one, and I just never got all the mats I needed for it yet. So when I got the Destreza, I was really excited to try it out, and holy crap, that thing is so fun.
Yeah.
I feel like such a badass using that weapon. Because I'm like doing like the parry thrust type of stuff, and the stealth kill is
stealth kill is great.
Gratifying to see.
Yep.
And I know there's been a couple of the content creators have posted up their builds and stuff and like showing like how insane this weapon can get. And it can get pretty freaking insane.
Yeah, it's cool. Like its status is just good enough that if you devote the resources to it, it can be a nice hybrid weapon.
Yeah, it can do both crit and status duration.
So, you switch out a couple mods here and there, and you can get it to be a pretty decent hybrid or a really solid crit weapon, which is a pretty decent improvement over the regular Destreza, because its its status chance was just,
mediocre.
Just below the point where you could do something with it without, ludicrous amounts of investment, which at that point it's hurting the damage overall, and it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, so it's really good.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have a hybrid weapon because you could go into, if you need the viral proc or something like that, you could go that route, but you don't necessarily have to. You can, go with the crit. So
yeah, or if you happen to just forget what's on your loadout and you take it into a sortie where they have insane resistance to statuses, you still have that crit there.
Yeah, it's still going to be good.
Yeah, and it's really neat. The move sets for it, I don't remember which stance I have. I think there's only one, right?
There's a conclave one, but that doesn't count.
Okay, so I don't have the conclave one. Yeah. And the combos on it felt really good too.
They do, and they're not that hard to do. That's the best part. And I know like we're all going to be learning new combos, here when the new melee comes out, but at least for the moment, like it's up there with one of the better move sets, I would say.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
But overall, I want to do some more research on it and do some more work, because right now I have other melees that I'm kind of focusing on, just that fit my playstyle a little bit better with the frames that I've been focusing on the most. But I definitely do think that one is literally like maybe about 1 or 2 weapons away before I start really heavily looking into it here. Yeah. Like it's not a back burner. I'm not like just saying, oh, that's really neat, I got it to 30 and I'm never going to use it. It's just going to sit like a useless prime, like Paris Prime is in my inventory right now.
Poor Paris Prime.
I know, poor Paris Prime, but I'll never use that thing. I got it to 30 and I'm like, I'm done. Like, no. But I will come back to it. I think once I figure out a little bit more of my playstyle and kind of start experimenting with different things on different frames. On at least the ones that I main play, like Volt, Mag, Nova, and Avara. Because Avara with a bow, and that just makes me feel just so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, though, the only problem with the Destreza is the Zaw rapiers are still better.
They are?
Yes. Stat wise. So if you're really into number crunching, or, you want, there's nothing wrong with it, nothing against, people that just like the good numbers, the high numbers. The Zaw is, statistically, it is a little bit better. But, like Rob from Gay Guy Plays said, Fashion Frame's going to win out for me. So I'll take the hit on the numbers and stick with the Destreza.
I can't tell you how many times I've chosen a weapon just because it looks good on with my frame.
Yeah, we really lucked out with the Piranha because it's both.
It's so great.
It's a good looking gun, but at the same time, it's probably the most powerful secondary I have.
Yeah, which is why I think that's maybe why, like, I want to use the Piranha a lot, but that's maybe why I haven't just yet, because I just like the Cyanoid Gamma Core and the way it looks. I just feel like such a badass with this thing on my hand that I shoot lasers out of personally, so we'll see when the Piranha steps in.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so a couple quick things before we get to our discussion, because that's going to be the big one this week. The item labels for your inventory screens, they are back. They did get patched in this week, but you do have to go in and turn them on in your UI customization settings.
You have no idea how frustrated I was trying to figure that out. I think all week I was like, they're not in.
Yeah, I kept looking at the patch notes. Like, it says they're there. They're not there. Yeah. So you need to read the next line in the patch notes. Don't just stop where it says they've been added in.
Because that's where I stopped.
That's where I stopped. Yeah, I was like, it says they're there. What's going on? But yeah, so they are there. You just have to go turn them on.
And can say, oh my goodness, that makes it so much nicer. Like,
yes, it does.
That fixes one of my big issues with the UI. I still have a lot of problems with it, but at least it's getting fixed.
And they did update some more of the thumbnails for the images. I think it said they were all correct. I have not verified, but the one that I did notice, the Akbolto Prime, it is using the Akbolto Prime image now, not the regular Bolto Prime. Yep. So I
noticed that with the Lex and the Aklex as well.
Yeah, that was the other one that we noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So those are fixed. And then a couple, I guess, just kind of cleanup from the sacrifice stuff. Nothing too spoilery. There is a Reddit post that is just freaking hysterical. Rebecca, have you done the quest for Clem?
I have not actually, and I know that's blasphemy, and I know a lot of people are probably going to give me hate for it, but I have the quest, I just haven't done it for Clem
I
yet.
promise, as soon as we're done editing today's episode, I'll have her do it, because it's a good quest, and I believe I can come with you for all of it, too.
I want to see Clem.
But the reason that I bring this up is somebody posted saying that Darvo should replace Space Mom in survival missions. And you'll understand this more later, but like he does all, like you're doing a survival mission for him, and he keeps coming in over the intercom saying stuff like, "You interested in some half-price life support?" Just kidding. Here's another. And it was cool. And since Space Mom sort of dicked us at the end of the Apostate prologue, like let's let Darvo's voice actor come. I mean, they have all the lines. Like, we could just listen to the same 5 lines that he says during that mission. It'd be fine.
Yeah, I do like the Darvo lines. I will say that much. Those are fun.
Yeah. So, I don't know. They brought that up, and somebody else mentioned that Starchild Ortis should be the one. Like, they should have brought him in after that, doing some updates.
No.
I know you didn't like it.
I
loved it.
I
loved it. But, I won't explain why, just in case, because I did say no spoilers. And the other thing I wanted to bring up before we move on too much is how cool it is. And I don't think that they've gotten enough credit for this, because we were all so excited to finally have Umbra. And then I was still excited about Umbra the day Limbo came out. So I've been, then I went straight into Dapper Frame.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really cool. And I was thinking about it this morning. For some reason, I was thinking about it this morning. I just had a mental note to talk about it while we were recording. When they gave us Umbra, he was already level 30. He had the new Forma slots for special mods.
The Umbra mods.
Those Umbra mods, they were ranked up halfway, so we weren't given just bare bones mods. And he already had a potato, and his weapon was fully ranked, and it had the special Umbra slots, and it had a potato.
Yeah, and not only that, it was just the extra melee weapon as well. So
yeah, well, that's what I was talking about.
They had
this Skajati.
they not only did they. I mean, we knew that Excalibur had the exalted weapon, so we knew when that came in to expect that if it was going to be the same, like you were going to be able to mod that. But they added another weapon to the game with Umbra and gave us level 30, already maxed out with a potato, with 3 mods for it, and the mod slot's already there. And I'm like, holy crap, dude.
So I know, like, you do need to put in a little bit of work to get as far as the sacrifice. Like, little, brand new players have only been playing a couple of weeks. They aren't getting a brand new frame. They've got a ways to go. But, maybe people that aren't super good with builds or something, like, they're being given, like, a really solid starting point for a frame, like, with him. And he's a good frame just in general anyway.
Yeah, and those mods.
Yeah, those mods are pretty good.
I've seen a lot of people, like, saying, all right, how much more Forma do I have to put this really cool mod onto this other weapon?
Yeah. So
they've been, like, transferring those mods around to other frames and other stuff. Like, it's cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's really cool. I just wanted to give, a bit of a shout out to DE, and not at all because we're about to tear them apart, but this isn't guilt talking, but I wanted to give them a bit of a shout out because they could have just given us the blueprints like they did for Mirage or Nidus or Harrow. Just give you the blueprint for
the quest
for Umbra, and the quest just baseline rewards, and then you've got to go farm him and wait 72 hours, then rank him up, then give him a potato. But instead, he's done. Like, I was able to start the Forma process the moment I finished the sacrifice, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it. I think that says a lot about, and I know he's so pivotal to the story, like the main narrative of the game right now. But I don't know. Good on you, DE. That was a really, really awesome move for your players, especially with something that was so beloved, I think, and so highly anticipated.
Yeah.
So good on you. That was a smart choice.
And now the gloves are coming off.
Yeah, now the gloves are coming off. So We've seen this pop up a little bit. It popped up a little bit a couple weeks ago. It popped up a month ago. It's been popping up a lot, but this week has really brought it a little bit more. I feel like I've seen so much more about this and so many more people talking about it that it was just one of those things that we had to discuss. Like, we had to take a look at this because this is something that I feel very passionate about and something that I think really does need looked at and really does need changed. Because this is, as somebody who's getting into trading and into, dealing with those and farming and trading for currency for that plat and then turning around and putting that plat to ribbons, this is something huge.
Yeah.
And that is third-party resellers. And DE's policy, if you are in possession with an item that was bought with it or an item or plat that was from it. So first of all, let's just talk about what the policy is right now and how it's been enacted in the past. So right now, say Jeremy and I are two separate players, and I buy plat illegally from a third-party reseller, or I do the whole chargeback thing, or a chargeback. So I put it on a prepaid Visa card, I buy like $200-$300 worth of plat, and then I charge it back. So I get my money back, but I have the plat. And I go up to Jeremy, and he has $1,000 or 1,000 plat ribbon for sale, and I really want it. So I will trade him 1,000 of my illegally gotten plat that's not a verified purchase to him for said ribbon. So he just made 1,000 plat. And he turns around, he's like, awesome, I have 1,000 plat. Well, I need to buy a couple boosters from the cash shop, and I want to buy a deluxe skin, because that's, something that I was wanting to do. To reward myself for getting a really cool ribbon and selling it and doing the hard work. And then DE sweeps in, and they say, hey, you use these purchases on our marketplace with illegal plat, with plat that wasn't bought fairly. And that is a violation of our TOS. So not only will they take away the items that you got, they also take away the plat and they charge it to your account as a negative. So now, because I charged the plat and charged it back, or I bought it from a reseller, Jeremy is now stuck owing DE 1,000 plat before he can even log in and play his game or do anything, because he's locked out until he pays that $1,000 or that 1,000 plat back. And he had no idea that I got it illegally and I didn't pay for it. He had no idea. It was just somebody that wanted to buy a ribbon from him. Or vice versa, like if he would have bought that from something else. The items are gone, everything is gone. And that is a huge problem. I'm just going to throw that out there. That is such a huge problem.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, you could make the case that, and some people did on, various Reddit threads, like, how do you know for certain that I did not know that Rebecca had illegally purchased that plat somehow or another? She, it was
arranged for real world money outside of the game. That's
right.
Their fear.
Right. Yeah. Because, there is no way to tell in game that, I didn't, find Rebecca on some backwoods forums on like 4chan or something and arranged to buy, she's like, oh, I have, 1,000 plat, that I used on a chargeback, that way, everybody wins or something like that.
Yeah, give me $20 and I'll take that item off your hand and then I'll give you all of this plat.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it's a crap ribbon and I'm super desperate for 1,000 plat for those. You said boosters? Yeah. I really needed that deluxe skin and those boosters.
Hell yeah.
So, I sell her a junk one and then she doesn't care because it's, ill-gotten plat anyway.
Yeah, or, I arranged it for him. So say like we were outside like on that back CD4chan or some illegal back selling website.
But let's be honest, it's always 4chan.
It's either 4chan or it's the dark net.
The dark net.
The dark net on a Tor browser, which if you're using a Tor browser, either you're really smart and you're doing something really bad, or you're an idiot and you're going to get caught for something that you didn't do. So good luck.
But,
just
I understand their concern is, how do we know for sure that Jeremy didn't know that he was buying, fake plat? We'll call it fake plat.
Yeah, or how did he not use outside world money to buy something in game without buying the plat first?
Right. But I really have an issue with scorched earth policies like this because, 9 times out of 10, I would be willing to bet that if they go look at someone's account history, because they can, if they go in and they look at your account history, like let's say I'm in possession of, I traded off this Riven to someone, and now I am technically in possession of ill-gotten plat. They can go look, and they're like, okay, we tracked it to, this trade I did with, XX69 Slayer XX whatever, the edgiest fake account name we can come up with. And, they can trace it back, and they're like, okay, so, he got it 2 days ago at, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then he's never been in a match or whispered or been in a clan in with this person. They don't even log in at the same time since both accounts were created. Chances are I was not aware that I was getting screwed with fake plat. Mm-hmm. I would say 9 times out of 10, chances are I am the victim here. Yep. I got duped. Don't hold my account hostage for, that's $100, right? For 1,000? No, it's $50 for 1,000 plat. $50
for 1,000. Now, there is another side of this that I've seen brought up before, and it's another way that this is screwing over people. And there's a lot of people that are on the Reddit and the official forum saying that this will not get fixed until something bigger, like what I'm about to say, like times 30 happens to a lot of players. And that's the issue of gifting, which I will be fair. I gift a lot of stuff, I gift stuff to clanmates when I ask them how they're doing and they're like, man, I'm just trying to grind out so I can build this frame. I will go, and if that is available in like bundles or something, I will gift it to them. Or, hey, I'm just grinding for Forma. I'll gift him a couple Forma.
Or, your brother-in-law makes a snarky remark when you tell him to change his sigil and he says, you're going to buy it for me? And then you just gift it. Yeah,
I gift him the
and
glyphs.
You just gift it to him. Why not, right?
Yeah, so I am like really big. I'm all about helping out. If someone says I need something, I will gift it to them. Hell, some people have gifted me boosters. They've gifted me frames for MR.
Yeah, I got amazing. Gifted Ivara. Yeah. And that was great.
Yeah, so that's great. But here's the problem so I found a Reddit post about this. And the biggest part about this that's so crazy, so this was submitted about a month ago from Tenno on the Reddit, and I've seen people do this in chat, which I never respond to, and that's why I'm almost considering turning off gifting because of this. So basically, someone said in region chat that they'll give away free relic packs to anybody that messages them. So people this person sent them a message and said, nah, instead of the relic pack, you should just be buying slots for new players, helping them out, versus giving people relic packs. And he received a relic pack. And when he checked the user profile, they were MR3. So he's like, alrighty, this looks a little bit dodgy. And he quickly goes on to his options and turns off gifting. 10 minutes later, he receives a resource chance booster, which is also concerning. And this perfectly, like, someone is either fucking with people, and he literally thought, he's like, oh, well, someone's clearly fucking with somebody, and, in a couple days it'll be removed, and that'll be the end of that. 3 days later, he logs into a message, and 250 plat total and gone, saying that he got market items from a basically, I don't remember how he worded it, but he basically got them from somebody who wasn't legitimate. And so some random dude picked his name off of a PM, or you could even do this by opening up regional chat and picking up names and writing them down. Some dude sent him a gift and got his account banned, and he lost plat because of it. Now imagine if someone's stupid and trolly enough and has thousands upon thousands of plat this way, they could literally sit on their orbiter on a fake account and literally just pick people out and gift every single person he sees something cheap from the board. And suddenly, if they don't have plat, you're looking at what could be, if several people do it, a couple hundreds or thousands of accounts that are instantly banned because of this. And that's a problem.
So the moral of this part of the story, turn off region chat.
Or turn off gifting.
Nothing good happens in region chat.
Yeah, sometimes.
No, never.
Sometimes it's fun to listen to region chat.
Just turn it off.
Yeah, but yeah, so I just think it's so stupid. That if somebody gifts me something and I'm being polite or something like that, and I don't know, whatever the reason is, and they decide to do that, and I happen to open it and I don't think anything of it because, we stream. we put our username out there for people. So people in our stream join us, and people in our clan and everything. Like, we have a bunch of people on our friends list from people that I sometimes play with.
And we've been gifted stuff like, people gift us like spore decor.
Yeah.
I have so many spores in my orbiter.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's totally common. But just to think that some jerk that I could not even recognize the name of could do that.
Now,
and then I'm suddenly can't play the game anymore?
I will say, though, we'll play devil's advocate a little bit here. I guarantee the reason that this person said, PM me and I'll send you stuff, is because they were using that plat to get something for someone, and they wanted to try to mask it. So they were
I could see that.
So somebody was getting that ill-gotten plat in deliberately. Someone had arranged for that to happen, and then to try to cover it up, they were giving these gifts out to everybody. So I do think that that's what happened here. That's probably why. So then it becomes a matter of that one. Now, of all the people affected by this, one of them did deserve it. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that everybody should go down. Like, not everybody should be essentially held hostage for plat that, I mean, especially if it's a gift. Like, if you gift me something, I didn't spend the plat. Why is plat being drained from my account?
Yeah. And what they also bring this up, and I think this is just like a really good, way to bring this up, is the people that get in trouble for this, like the people that are doing this and doing chargebacks on like prepaid cards or something like that so they get their money back, 9 times out of 10 they're on a fake account, like a new fake account. And so the worst that happens to them is that account gets banned.
But they knew that account was going to get banned.
They knew the account was going to get banned, and they still walk away with their money not owing a dime, while other people who some people have, I mean, I literally have almost 10 tabs open with 10 different articles or 10 different posts about this, ranging from yesterday all the way back to a couple months ago. And that's just like the quick Google search that I found. Like, I didn't look, there were so many that it was really hard to, I kept pulling up more tabs and more tabs on it. Mm-hmm. So I had to say, stop looking for this because it's everywhere on this part. But, I mean, some of these people are having, thousands of plat getting taken, and some of them have never even used real-world money to buy plat. A lot of these players, that's plat that they got for grinding out relics and selling prime parts, selling prime sets.
Yep.
Or, doing the whole, they ground corrupted mods and then farmed endo and leveled them up and sold max rank corrupted mods. Or, they farmed for ducats and they bought extras of every single prime mod they could and then they maxed them up to max rank and sold them. That's the people that are having to pay real world money to unlock their accounts again.
Right.
Are the players that are playing the game a lot. And they're the ones that owe it. And it's just, someone mentioned, and I don't like to use this word lightly, but they kind of called it almost like extortion. A little bit.
It would kind of feel that way. I can understand that mindset for sure, because if I sold a Riven for 1,000 plat today, mm-hmm. and the person that bought that Riven off of me was using illegal plat, I would not be able to get back on because I don't have 1,000 plat right now. Mm-hmm. So I would be screwed. I mean, they'd take what I had, so I wouldn't necessarily, it's a little dramatic to say I would have to buy 1,000 plat because I have some. But at the end of the day, I would need 1,000 plat, just to get back to where I am now.
And not only that, but then that 1,000 plat Riven is gone too. And then you're not getting that Riven back.
You actually, see, that's the shitty part. You do get it back, but it's flagged as untradeable. So if it's a Riven, let's say, I don't use the Tenora. I don't mm-hmm. use it. If I rolled a godly Tenora Riven, just
sold for
literally
crazy amounts.
Yeah, if I could sell it reasonably for, I see some go for 3K. I would never call that reasonable, but apparently some people do. So we'll say it's 3K Riven. If I sold it and somebody illegally acquired 3K worth of plat and sold that to me, my account would be held hostage for 3 plat. If I paid back that 3K plat, I would get the Riven back, but then the Riven is flagged as untradeable. So now I'm stuck with a God roll Riven on a weapon I don't like, and I had to pay 3,000 plat back just to get my account active again. So there's some people on the Reddit that have some decent ideas on how to fix it, but DE's got to do something else.
Yeah, there was a really cool one that I saw that basically said a way to make it secure is essentially to put in a blockchain. Nice and simple. So basically what it would do is a simple line of coding. You see this a lot with cryptocurrencies, and that's how cryptocurrencies work. Is so, I buy plat from the DE's website, and Jeremy has something that I want. So basically what happens with the trade is, or it starts from when you purchase the plat. So I buy platinum from DE's website. I get it. My server is secure, saying that it's legit. DE's side, through whatever nodes and servers that they go through, is saying it's legit. So my account gets credited, with the purchase, and then the platinum is consolidated onto my account. And essentially what it does is it has basically a chain on it. It's got a certain number of hashes and number codes and stuff that verifies that I bought it at this time. It ran through these nodes, and it stores all that information in a very small amount of space. So then I have it. So then I'm trading with Jeremy. Jeremy has an item I want. So the way the trading would work is I put in that plat, Jeremy puts in the item, and then it would run and look for that tag, or look for a tag that meets the certain standards of whatever their chain is. And the only way to get it would be to get it through their website, essentially. So then what it would do is it would record that Jeremy got the plat from me, and it would make sure that his item is legitimate as well through the blockchain. And then it would basically say, okay, trade the items. Now, if I was illegal and I had illegitimate ones, and it flagged it as not a verified purchase because I did a chargeback, essentially, it would basically flag on that trade window when it runs that process to make sure it's there. And essentially, it would pop up a warning and say, transaction not available, even though you saw the plat there.
So the problem that I have with this, I can already tell, is what happens if you don't do the chargeback until after this trade's over. Then that person you traded with is still on the hook. And we're right back to where we are now.
That is fair.
Now, I agree, that would help.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these people, they're not doing the trade back until after, and that's why, the guy in the example you pointed out, he didn't even get notified until 3 days had gone by, because the chargeback was issued
afterwards,
36 hours after the trade was even finished. So I think this would suck for a lot of people. It would be super inconvenient, but maybe make a 24-hour window before your plat's available when you buy it.
That would be interesting. I know some video games, and Final Fantasy XIV Online has this. They actually have an anti-chargeback rule. So if for any reason when your sub comes out, if there's any sort of chargeback that you do, your account is permanently banned.
Yep.
100%. And it's harsh. It sucks. Sometimes banks do stupid stuff. 9 times out of 10 now, at least in America, to issue a chargeback, you actually have to apply for it with most major banks. Banks will not automatically do a chargeback. Even if there's not enough funds in it, it will just detract and take its own fee, and the bank will take its money for you overdrafting your accounts.
And that's why they're using prepaid visas to do this, right?
I think so.
That and just the anonymous side of things.
Yeah.
They're just trying to cover their tracks.
Yeah, so I think what should happen is, maybe that's the line they go down, is start hard banning people for chargebacks. I mean, I don't know. There's no good answer, but something needs to be done about this.
I think another thing that could help. There's not one answer to this problem.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. I think this is going to be, they're going to need to find several different methods and implement all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still going to have this problem, but if they could find ways to help. So another thing that I was thinking of is DE needs to buy WF Trader and Warframe Market and shut them down. And they need to move all of that information in-game so that we have a terminal on our ship that pulls up the auction house.
So like an auction, put an in-game auction house instead of leading to trades.
Because if initially you might think oh God, we don't want an auction house. But if you look at Warframe Market, it is an auction house. It's WoW's auction house. You just you have to message them in game separately. So you could still spend illegal plat on an in-game auction house. That doesn't necessarily help your case. But the difference is, in my opinion, if you were to do it that way, you would buy, like if I had ill-gotten plat and I went onto the auction house and started buying stuff, the people that I bought stuff from, it's even less likely that they were in on it because it's a random person. Like, you don't even list the usernames so that people can't tell who they're buying it from.
Yeah.
And then that way, then only the person who had the plat is actually responsible for it. You put them on the hook for the money and ban their account. It doesn't solve the problem of people acquiring this, but it does put another roadblock in place so that the people who are receiving this ill-gotten plat aren't being punished for it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, then you have the bot that's going through and is verifying all these things. You have it look even closer at the peer-to-peer trading. So if you didn't use the auction house, if you went to the dojo to trade, and it's someone you've never seen before and all of that, then you have the bot that's checking the code. Go look, like, is that plat verified? Because then you'd still be able to use the dojo trading. I'm not talking about removing any of the existing systems, just adding the auction house and getting rid of like WF Trader, because it is nice to be able to talk some of these people down from their price, but I've had better luck talking to people down from Trade Chat. I've never had any luck bargaining with people from Warframe Trader.
That's fair.
They just or Warframe Market. That's just not what they're there for. Like, they don't want to negotiate prices. And then Rivens, maybe with Rivens, you don't put Rivens on the auction house. Maybe you leave Rivens, peer to peer, but they put a way to do that in game. Like, they bring WF Traders setup into the game.
So you can like list them in game and then click a button and whisper them if they're online, or
yeah.
send them a letter.
Yeah, so maybe
like
they put those systems in game. So then it's still like everything we do, like, it's cutting down the need to have a conversation with somebody off of the game. So then all of those chat logs, they're right there in game.
Yeah.
And that way, if you message someone and you're like, hey, email me here, and they leave their like AOL email, some random bullshit account or something, and then they get ill-gotten plat, then like DE can be like, okay, they totally made a deal, because why else is he giving them their email address? Like this, so this person was in on the transaction. It just gives them the tools and the clues and the ammunition to go after the people who are making these backdoor deals, and to stop screwing people who are just being, gifted plat that they shouldn't have gotten because it's a chargeback, and then getting banned. Like, something that, DE can do to not have a scorched earth policy, because I really hate that.
Yeah, especially for the people that, are 100% free to play and don't put a lot of money into the game. Because as much as you want to say it's the whales and the people that are buying the plat, the people that are buying the plat wouldn't have any reason to buy the plat if it weren't for the people that were completely free to play and were grinding everything out for the people that like the convenience of buying stuff for plat. That's
and what happens if, like, like you mentioned, like, we stream, our usernames are out there. What happens if I log in tomorrow to do our stream and somebody has gifted me, 5,000 plat worth of garbage just to get my account banned? I'm screwed. And then we don't stream, and then we probably never stream again, or don't get any ideas, anybody who wants us to come to consoles. But maybe that's the only option at that point, because I'm going to be so mad. But if I lose everything, I'm not going to want to keep playing.
Yeah, I would be.
I'm not going to want to start
bitter.
over. I'm going to be so salty.
Yeah, I would
so
be salty.
they need to work something else out.
Yeah.
But I would say, and I know I'm ranting a lot, and I'm sure you have something to say. So,
oh, yeah.
So last point, and then I'll let you talk.
Thank you.
The biggest thing they need to do is they need to talk about it. Because DE, according to people on the Reddit, and anything I've found, DE has been utterly silent on why this policy exists, or exactly the details or the parameters. Because to be completely fair, for all we know, the people posting on the Reddit are in on it, and they knew what they were getting into. They just got caught. Because that's happened in other games that we've played. Is people are like, "Oh, I just got banned for 72 hours, and it's not my fault, man." And then people in the Reddit chat, they're like, "Then why are you doing X, Y, and Z? Like you were clearly in on it, and you're just mad you got caught."
Yeah.
But DE, like, they really need to say something more than just the super professional, like when they get back from TennoCon and all of that, like on the next dev stream, like Rebecca and Steven, like they need to take us through the process, like step by step, like here's why we do it this way. Like they need to break the silence.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think the only other suggestion that I've seen, and I'm not a fan of this one just because I really do like the freedom of this game, like for playing how you want to play and getting stuff how you would like to get it. But the other big suggestion that has come up a lot is to basically stop being able to trade plat and items in the game.
I've seen a less nuclear option than that of like changing the MR levels required for trading, or like you can only trade up to 200 plat until you're MR10 or something like that. But still, like restrictions on trading, I agree with you, is there are already restrictions in place and it's not helping.
Yeah, I think I don't know, it's so weird, this whole thing. That's why we wanted to talk about it. It's just because I can't think of a correct way to fix this. I can't think of a way to fix this right now that actually would fix the problem. But I can also see that it needs fixed. Like something needs done here. And I think from just the short amount of time of the post that I was able to pull up before it crashed my browser several times with too many windows open, like there has to be something better. There has to be a better way to handle this. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you guys think that there's a way that they could do this, if you have the simple answer, or if this has happened to you, let us know. We'd love to hear some firsthand experiences of people that have had to do this, and what was the support like, and were they able to help you, and what was it like going through the process? Because it's something that hasn't happened to me, and I really do hope that it doesn't happen to me or Jeremy or anybody really, that's honestly 100% doesn't know about it.
Because, and if you have had some sort of experience with this, definitely, if you don't mind, reach out, let us know. Because one of the things that I do know happens is the people who have the worst experience are really the only ones that ever bring it up.
Yep.
So, and for all we know, the people that are bringing it up are salty that they got caught. Maybe DE finally figured out how to catch these people, and these people have been doing it so long that they think that they don't, maybe they don't realize that what they're doing is, who knows? Maybe they're just mad and they want to raise a fit so that they get people like us who don't know exactly what's going on to talk about it, to make people think that it's this huge crisis. Maybe it's not a crisis at all, but
yeah,
it could be. We could be completely in the wrong here, and these assholes posting on Reddit are really the problem.
Yeah,
but we won't know unless we hear the other side of the story. So.
Yeah, so let us know.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be it for us this week.
Is that it? Are we already out of time?
Yeah, we are already out of time. We're pushing some time now.
When I get on that soapbox, I'm so sorry.
You do, and you keep going and going and going.
I was ready for today, though. When we decided what we were going to do,
Yeah, he's done a lot of research on this in the past, too, when we first found out about what it was happening.
Because I got worried because, I do a lot of trading.
Mm-hmm. I do, too.
Now, granted, I do mostly buying, but I do have some Rivis and stuff that I want to sell. And now, to be completely honest, I'm probably not going to sell them.
Yeah, I'm
probably going to wait
terrified.
And transmute them. Because they're crap Rivens. I don't have the good Rivens I have, I'm keeping. At this point, I don't have so many good Rivens that I can afford to get rid of them. But,
yeah.
I do I've considered, people talk about, buying prime junk when Barrow's coming by, I may not do that. I haven't been because I've been saving up for TennoCon's Barrow visit. But, after that, that was something I was going to do to make, 20, 40 plat here and there is just selling prime junk. And now, if I'm being completely honest, I'm probably not going to be too keen to do that unless, if it's someone from our alliance with the clan or someone in the clan, that's one thing because I at least have some contact with them. But randos from Warframe Market, I'm probably not going to be selling stuff to them.
Yeah.
I at least until we have more information on what's going on.
If we don't wrap this up, we're going to keep talking about it for a really long time.
That's fair.
That's fair. We can go on about this a lot because there's a lot of fear around it right now. So yeah, so let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your side of the story, or if this happened to you, or if you think it's fine and you are a fan of the Scorched Earth. I'd love to hear that too. I'd love to hear reasons why people would support this and what the good sides of it, because I'm sure there are good sides. They're keeping us safe, but just to what level? So yeah, that's it. This is the last week to enter the Captura contest.
Yes.
So make sure you get those entries in. Email your Captura to TennoTalk@gmail.com. They're due by June 29th. I think it's June 29th.
Yep.
Is when they're due by. Make sure you get them in and get them in for us. And like I said, the prizes are a $15 Steam gift card. And on top of that, you will also be featured on our website on the front page and featured on the Twitch stream as well, as our offline image and all this other good stuff. And we'll get your Captura out there a lot. So make sure you get those in. And I think that's all of our news this week.
Follow us on Twitter to get pictures of our new kitty.
Yes, we do have a new kitty. We have a Kavat. Her name is Nata, because one day she'll betray us, but she's super cute and super smoothish right now. So follow us on Twitter to get updates of the cute little kitty and living with a kitten now. And other than that, we will be back next week with episode 9. So until then, stay safe, Tenno. TennoTalk is a weekly Warframe podcast produced and edited by Rebecca and Jeremy Goodrich. Warframe is created by Digital Extremes. Music for the podcast was provided by Purple Planet Music, and Ortis sound clip was provided by Digital Extremes Fansite Kit. You can email the show at TennoTalk@gmail.com and reach us on Twitter at Tenno_talk. You can also join us live on Twitch at TennoTalk on Monday and Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern, and Monday from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern. Follow us to make sure you get updates on when we are live, as the stream times have changed, and you can subscribe to the channel to help support the show. You can download the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, and along with most major podcasting apps. Also, don't forget to stop by the website and check it out, which is TennoTalk.com. There you can find the podcast episodes as long as the information on the Captura contest. If you like the show, be sure to rate us and leave a review. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next week with episode 9.